Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was definitely one of my most anticipated movies of this summer. Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite directors working today. He just has such an amazing style, and it's so unique how he creates such interesting scenes with dynamic characters and rich dialogue. Within every one of his movies, it feels like it's his own little universe that he's created, and he's just like invited you to jump into it and see the sort of creativity that he brought to each of his projects. So, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This movie is all about Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. And Leonardo DiCaprio is kind of getting to be a washed-up TV actor. He is kind of a little bit self-obsessed, and he just like thinks about himself all the time. But he also has some very good bright moments where you see how he cares for his friends and the people around him, and how he really actually cares about his craft. And he also is a very sympathetic character through those ways. Alongside him, you have Brad Pitt, who is his stunt double, who I think is just the highlight of the movie. He's just such like a puppy dog of a character, and he's just like a man's man who like gets down and dirty and like fights people, and you know, he's just such a fun character as well. And to see them both together, if you boil this movie down, it is just a bromantic comedy between the two. So if you look at Leonardo DiCaprio's character in this movie, he just offers kind of this view into what it's like to be a TV star in the late 60s and like some westerns, but you also see him on the decline, so you kind of see how actors get so like dramatic with it and get so boohoo like worrisome about their careers, which makes sense. You know, they don't necessarily have the most stable of jobs, but also it's just funny seeing how dramatic and like self-obsessive they can be through Leonardo DiCaprio's character. It was really fun and refreshing to see kind of like an honest take on something like that. But Brad Pitt's character in this movie, oh my gosh, he just steals the show this whole movie. He just is sort of like this Punisher, Batman type character who just delivers a sort of vigilante justice where you kind of have this id inside of you saying like, okay, maybe what he's doing isn't necessarily right, but the id inside of you is just like, I kind of agree with him. Or like, you know, it's just funny to see his sort of actions in the movie. And through Brad Pitt's character, you see so much of Tarantino's style just kind of funneled into his character, and, you know, that's part of the reason why he's so great. Another aspect of this movie that was great was Quentin Tarantino's recreation of old late 60s, early 70s Hollywood. Just these really bright colors, and, you know, it's very fantastical how all these things look. But it's just really fun to see it. It is incorporated super well with the cinematography. It's captured beautifully, and it's just such a joy to look at. And it's almost like a dream sequence, you know, it's just, you know, very pretty. Also, the music set a great tone for this movie. This is probably Quentin Tarantino's most, like, upbeat movie, you know, easygoing. It doesn't have as many scenes of tension, although it does have a few. It has a lot less, and this movie just seems like he spent more time trying to focus on this sort of era and placing his specific characters in this era and bringing out all the aspects that kind of influenced him. He's spoken a lot about, you know, different eras of cinema that have kind of influenced him, and he's very nostalgic about them. It's really fun to see Quentin Tarantino's interpretation of this time period of Hollywood that helped create him. It's kind of like a cycle. It's really fun to watch. Now, many people leaving this movie will probably think that it's kind of like a slow burn. There's a lot of time that it takes to just like slowly go through some things like On Set in Hollywood with Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and it just kind of dives deep into these sort of settings that he creates. And a lot of people would say, yeah, it probably could be taken out or trimmed down, because this movie does have a 2-hour and 40-minute runtime, which is pretty long. But for myself, I know what I'm getting going into like a Tarantino movie. I know that's going to be long. I know it's going to be a little bit self-indulgent. But personally, I love it. You know, I just love sitting down, being entertained for that whole time, and just kind of soaking in the thing that he creates. And I don't really have that many problems with it. So my only sort of criticism of this movie was Margot Robbie's character Sharon Tate and how that was incorporated in the movie. There's a lot of time spent with Sharon Tate in the first and second act of this movie that towards the end of the movie might feel like it doesn't necessarily need to be there. But if you look at it in a different way, it is kind of used in contrast to Leonardo DiCaprio's character, because Sharon Tate has a lot of roles in big movies and is very successful. She's married to Roman Polanski, who's also very successful. and it's supposed to be in contrast to Leonardo DiCaprio's sort of decline. It is another thing that could have been trimmed out of the movie, maybe to make it a little bit more streamlined, but it's another thing that adds some more time for Quentin to paint his sort of setting and, you know, just the time, so it is what it is. I'm going to give Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie, and I am looking forward to going and seeing it again as soon as I can. So thank you guys for watching my video. I am going to be releasing a ranking of all 9 Tarantino movies, my own personal ranking, so I'll be sharing that very soon. Until then, click the like button. Let me know that you liked it, and if you didn't like it, still like it. I don't care what you think, just like it. Press the subscribe button, the notification button. Check out all my videos on my channel, and I'll see you next time.